and welcome back to the Sword of Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with a tear-tainted craft brew on the side. I'm Jade.
Sorry. Normally you crack up. You did it. Well played.
I got it.
I'm Nate, and on this episode, we are getting to the truth of Chapter 30 of Blood of the Foal.
Yes, we are, and I don't know if anybody realized this, but we are more than halfway through the book. Our last book, I believe, was like 75 chapters, 74, somewhere in there. And so I decided to look, figuring that we weren't, we were getting close, but we weren't halfway. We are over halfway, guys. There's like 54 fucking chapters in this book.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we were over halfway until I literally looked at the notes earlier today and was like, oh shit, really? She's like, yeah, 50-something, dude. We're kicking ass.
Yeah, we're knocking them out. And speaking of chapters in general and how we're knocking these out, this coming weekend, me and Nate are going to be going away for our anniversary. So
that's right, Lucky 13.
We may be recording while on the road. So we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up that our next episode might sound a little bit different. We're going to do our best to make it sound as good as we possibly can, like we do every time. But I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be a new method, one we're trying to go as basic as possible with. But I've never done it and then put it out as an episode, so I'm just hoping it's going to sound okay. And if it does, then that may lead us to different places. Hopefully not too comfortable places. Like, yeah, I know we're in the bathroom, but we can just bang an episode out right now. And just saying, could go in very scary places.
It could, but we are excited for you guys to be there for this experiment with us. And I wanted to just mention that I cried probably about as much as Verna cried during this chapter. I don't mention my crying or her crying during the notes at all because it happens a lot. It's a very emotional chapter. And so just know that. It's cry-filled. Is that how you say that? That's not how you say that.
You mean like tear-filled?
Yeah, it's tear-filled. There's
like
cries.
We said at the beginning.
There's cries. For me.
I wasn't really in a cryy place with this chapter. I was more in a I'd be angry place with it. But it is something that you wait to see happen for a long time in the book.
It feels like closure. This chapter feels like a lot of... it's not. There's a lot of, things that are being opened up again in it, but there's a lot of points that get kind of resolved.
So I suppose we should resolve this conversation and get into the chapter.
I think so.
See the thing that I did?
Yeah, it was nice. It was cute.
It was your idea.
Yeah.
Anyways. So Verna is pacing the sanctuary, pissed at Anne. She did end up going. As much as, we were talking about her just being angry. Like, no, burn it. Burn the book. She didn't do what you said. She went right there.
But she is thinking that in her head. She's like, I should have fucking burned that book. I'm doing exactly what she wanted me to do. This is exactly what she expected of me, and I should not have done it. She did not do what I asked. That bitch.
She broke the rule.
Yeah.
Book's getting burned.
Yeah.
Maybe I should look in it before I burn it, though. And that's, smart.
Yeah, she wants to have it verified before she burns it. Are they alive? I gotta know.
We talked about this before, but to me, I would really, really want to burn the book, but I probably wouldn't. It's like if you're all alone on a mountain and you're waiting for information about a possible rescue team, would you destroy your phone on purpose? No, you wouldn't. This is a link to the prelate who is still alive officially, and it's like, would you burn it though? You'd want to. You'd want to a lot. But would you?
You gotta get some answers first, at the very least. You gotta at least figure out some of the reasons.
So we'll talk once, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
So she looks in the book, and she finds this super long response. Like one of the text messages you look at, and it's like one out of several pages, and you're like, oh, fuck.
This is a lot.
I wasn't ready for this.
I'm not reading this until I can sit down.
After stressing the importance of only reading the book when she's in a safe place and erasing it immediately after, Anne starts with the stating of word for word what she told Verna before as requested. Finally. Now she does it.
Yeah. Which I guess would probably quell a little bit of the anger, because you're like, I fucking told you to do that. And then she was like, okay, I get it. I'm glad that you followed my little instruction. I know you're pissed that I didn't do what you said, but here it is.
Right. I think had she not done that, then the book's getting burned for sure.
Yeah.
But one thing that she wrote back was that I will comply with your totally reasonable and clever request to have me tell this to you. So Verna knows that Anne is getting out of it everything Verna really wanted her to get out of it.
Yes.
Out of her having to say it back to her. And she's acknowledging that that's taking place. It's on this whole people smarter than me level, I feel like. But yeah, they both get it. And there's a moment.
Yes.
Or at least a moment begins.
Yes. And I do think it is good, like you said, that it, comparing it to text, that she sent this all in one block. Yeah. As opposed to sending the beginning part being like, thanks for following my request, even though I didn't answer yours, and like not answering the second part, like not giving her that confirmation right away. If she would have just sent the first part and then waited for a response, I would have been pissed.
You get that in people who text little snippets at a time.
Yes.
Like as the thoughts occur to them, then they might answer this part of your question or that part of the question.
And that's frustrating as hell.
Sometimes they circle back, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Gotta find the right balance. Anyways, before Verna can spin too far out about all this, right? This is what you were talking about. This hits her in the face emotionally.
Yes, this confirms that Anne's alive now, which is a big deal. But also, she has to relive hearing all that shit from Anne. It's from her hand again. Anne is basically telling her that shit over again.
Right. I basically said you were shitty.
Yeah.
And non-stick-outy.
Yeah.
And expendable.
Expendable on a low-priority mission.
Right. Which is great, you know, when your boss tells you that. Just makes you feel really good about yourself. But what follows after this total abuse of words, is a heartfelt admission that she lied. She recognizes that it broke both of their hearts, and it made Verna feel used. She's like, hey, I recognize that this was a really shitty thing for me to do.
Yeah, it's a validation of everything that Verna's been feeling towards her. Like, Anna's like, I recognize I did that to you, and it was shitty. It hurt me, too, to do that. Just so you know, it wasn't easy. I wasn't just like, fuck Verna's feelings.
I can be a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
But she does end up giving her something. Like, for all these really mean things that she has to say, even though it was requested, I will say that. Yes, it's emotional, but you did ask her to send these things to you.
To repeat it back to her, yeah.
Then she goes about telling her the truth about the real reason why she was chosen.
Yeah, even though she knows she might not believe her now because she lied to her in the past, she's hoping that she'll see the truth of the words when she tells her why she actually did it.
And the reason she did it, get this, it's because you're the only person I can trust with the fate of the world.
It's actually the exact opposite of everything that I told you. Like, literally exact opposite. You're, like, super duper fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And that was not a low priority mission. That was a big deal that you did.
I know, like, I get the intent here. I do. I can see it plain-faced. But at the same time, it also seems to me like, yeah, eventually this conversation was gonna have to be had between you two because you kind of did a fucked up thing to another person. And that person is pissed and wants some acknowledgement of it. It almost seemed like, oh, no. I didn't do it because you were playing. You're like the coolest. You know, man? Yeah, we should hang out. I'm busy for the next few weeks, but we should.
Yeah, no, I could see how it could come off that way. Like, oh, I got caught. Now, just so you know, I didn't mean any of that shit that I said, because you're the only person I can talk to. But what she says next kind of reveals that it's been a longer plan than that.
Yes, much longer, in fact. Hundreds of years, in fact. Before Verna and Richard were even born, Anne and Nathan knew of the threat to the world, and they knew that Richard was going to be born a war wizard.
Yeah. So, like, a long fucking... You forget how long these people have lived. It's crazy the years that are thrown out there. Like, fucking 300, 500 years before these people were even born. Like, what?
I know a little bit later in this chapter, Anne says that Nathan is like 1,000 years old. I know that's a generalization because he's also said he wants to live to see 1,000, so we know he's not quite there. But he's close enough for you to be like, yeah, he's like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, it's a century. It's crazy. It's just really weird.
That's a millennium, I think.
I thought it was...
Isn't it? A century is 100 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, you know what? That one's going to come back to bite us later, maybe.
No, you're probably right. Numbers are hard, guys. Whatever.
That's why we don't have a math podcast.
Exactly.
Anyways, though, when Richard was born, Anne and Nathan were the ones who stole the Book of Counted Shadows and brought it to Richard's dad so that Richard could read it.
Yeah, and memorize it, thus setting in motion everything else that we've fucking seen so far. Yeah.
They have been running the longest con in the history of ever.
Yeah, they're playing long game.
Long game. I wouldn't have the patience for that. Being 1,000 might be cool or extremely boring. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't have the patience to wait that long. You'd get to year 300 and you would say, all right, let's just end this. I can't.
So that line is very quick, but it also like ties back to something from the first. This is one of the things I love about Terry Goodkind. He ties things back to the first book here and answers questions that, I mean, I think we had, but didn't really pay a lot of attention to. Like, who the fuck stole that book? How did George get the book? Why did he get it? Like, what was the whole point of all of that? And it's Anne and Nathan knew what Richard was going to become, and so they set all of this in motion by doing that and stealing it from Zen in the first place. What?
Yeah, it all ties in. All those little details that, like you said, not that we didn't pay attention, but like we knew that didn't get entirely resolved when it came to Richard's dad just happening himself into this crazy ass situation.
Yeah, he just went into the keep for no fucking somehow for no reason.
But
what?
It's enough to where you go, oh, okay, no, I'm sure I missed it or something was explained. And no, it wasn't. But here it is.
Yeah. And they've, I mean, obviously now Richard has known these people longer than he even fucking knows.
So the reason that Verna searched for 20 years for Richard, even though Anne knew where he was, is because she needed to learn to use her mind. We talked about this before. It pretty much makes sense. She had to get out of the palace to live life and just, you have to be your own arrow. You can't be guided by us over here. You need your instincts to be like, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, she had to be put in real world situations and make real decisions. Real time.
But Anne lying to her had helped to break her of her teachings and make her mad enough to do what she thought was right, even if that goes against what the Palace of the Prophets was trying to do. So that's the advantage here.
Yeah, it taught her not to just follow orders. Do the right fucking thing.
Right. She also misled Verna because she was trying to force the hand of a Sister of the Dark, leading to her attack.
We know that was Elisha.
Right.
Because she was trying to call them out, basically. Because she had basically, in that conversation, implied that her administrators put Sisters of the Dark on those missions.
Right. So if you create a good enough person who will make big enough waves, also kind of a nod to Richard, like Verna, in a position like this, she's gonna fucking stir up the bee's nest.
Yeah. Well, Anne did, anyways.
Well, yeah, by Anne's doing,
Yeah.
but Verna was the one, like, there.
Yes.
We also learned that there had been a prophecy saying that the one they needed, right, would come with an angry scowl instead of a smile or a pout. So when tested as a child, Verna apparently passed with flying colors by getting super pissed off. No. Like, super pissed off.
Yeah. She had been accused of something she didn't do, and she was, like, indignant at the injustice of it. And
at the injustice of being accused.
Yeah, of something she knew she didn't